Hi, everybody. Today it will be a follow up to last week's exercise. We are going to combine several of our previous exercises and bring a few more elements together. You will need paper, paint, brushes, watercolor pencils, something to mix the paint, cloth, water, and perhaps a small kitchen sponge. And you may also want to wear gloves to protect your hands, okay? So let's begin. Some of you mentioned that the previous exercises felt a bit rushed. So today we are going to give ourselves a little bit more time and observe how that affects the outcome. So for this first piece, we are going to show more of the process. I have already transferred my sketches onto the paper and I used watercolor pencils because they blend seamlessly with the paint. Even if I'm working with oils or acrylics, they still dissolve, which makes them extremely useful for this process. So, as you know, I prefer to mix my own colors, and in general, I work with these 6 base colors here for all my mixes. This helps me not only keep my color palette minimal, but also coherent. For instance, every green and orange you see in my paintings, they will naturally sit well together because they originate from the same yellow. For this exercise, I prepared 2 base skin tones. One is lighter and more neutral, and the other contains slightly more burnt umber, making it subtly darker. As you can see, the difference between them is very little, and you do not need more than that. I usually begin by painting the entire skin area in the lighter tone, and then I use the second tone to introduce variation in areas where the skin needs to appear slightly darker. After that, I apply a very light wash of burnt umber to define the details more clearly. Occasionally, I blend in a touch of white where I want to introduce some highlights. And these 3 colors, the base skin mix, the umber, and the white, are enough to introduce you to a more realistic approach because all you need is the basic color, shadows, and highlights. Once you are comfortable, you can begin adding other colors or refinement. When painting portraits, whether of people or animals, I always spend at least twice as much time on the eyes because they are usually the first point of focus for the viewer. Even when I work in a more loose or slightly abstract style, I still dedicate extra attention to the eyes because they carry the heaviest visual weight in a portrait. Once the skin is complete, I repeat the same principle for the other areas. For the hair, for instance, I begin with a single flat layer using, in this case here, burnt umber. And after it dries, I add highlights. In this case, I'm using yellow ochre. For the dress, the approach is just the same. I start with a solid block of color, and just for your information, this is not pure black. It's a mixture of black, umber, and blue. And then I use the same blue and the same umber to add some highlights to the black dress. Normally, I would leave the background neutral. However, because we are exploring a slightly different concept here, I decided decided to use a bold red. It is mixed with a small amount of burnt umber and a little bit of blue. The original idea was for the model to wear the same flowers that would appear in the background. However, I didn't want to overcomplicate this piece. We can try that concept some point in the future, but for today, let's just keep it simple. So each of today's paintings took a little bit longer than usual. I usually complete a portrait in 20 to 30 minutes. However, because these ones here include floral elements and additional small details like in the background, each one took me around an hour. If you would like to create something more realistic or add more details, remember that this is just a starting point, and it is not the only method for achieving realistic skin tones. This one here is simply a very straightforward way to begin if that is the direction that you want to explore. If realism interests you, this is a solid starting point. Okay. Once again, the structure is very simple. Fill in the shapes with flat blocks of color, and then you add one additional color for highlights and another for shadows. Keep in mind that if you are using acrylics like I am here, acrylics dry very quickly. You need to be conscious of that timing. The oils, in the other hand, dry much more slowly, which gives you greater flexibility. You can take your time blending, correcting, even reworking entire areas. With acrylics, that window is much shorter. The overall result can be very similar regardless of the medium that you are using. This is a simple and accessible way to begin moving towards more realistic portrait work. For someone fully committed to realism, this would be an early stage in a longer process. From here, you would continue building additional layers of shadow, definitions, and refinements. I would encourage you to repeat this process over and over and over until you feel confident enough. If possible, try to make several the same day. Okay? By the third or fourth painting, you will already feel warmed up. You will understand the structure, and it will no longer feel as though you are starting from nothing each time. And finally, when it comes to improving at anything, you must allow yourself time. One of the most important elements in any creative process is giving yourself real time, not rush time, not distracted time, time in which you allow the work to unfold at its own rhythm. We often want immediate results. We want the painting to look finished before it is ready. But strong work requires space. It needs pauses. It needs moments when you step back and then you breathe and then you observe what is actually happening on the surface. Then you breathe again and then you let the idea settle. When you rush from one layer to the next without reflection, you are reacting rather than building. Patience is not passive, it is an active attention, if that makes sense. Trusting the process means accepting that some stages will look awkward. A composition may feel wrong halfway through. That does not mean that you are failing. It only means that it is developing. Most strong pieces pass through uncomfortable phases before they become coherent. Think of your composition as a story. A story has rhythm, tension, silence, emphasis. You are not simply arranging materials on a surface. You are guiding someone's eye and, more importantly, their emotional response. That is the difference between art, which is something that provokes feelings, to something that is just visual. It may be attractive, but it can also be forgettable. So, this principle extends beyond art. Anything meaningful requires time. Your skills will develop layer by layer. Relationships require patience, listening, and space between reactions. Even your internal growth cannot be rushed up without consequence. Often we receive poor answers because we demand them to be delivered right now. When we rush for clarity, what we receive is incomplete and unsatisfying. It is not that the other person cannot respond, it is that some things require time. They have their own pace, and we have got to respect that. There is a difference between getting what we want and receiving what we truly need. Growth in any form is a process. There are awkward stages. There are moments that feel like we are failing when we are actually simply in the middle of becoming. So allow yourself to slow down, build intentionally, let each stage inform the next. When you approach both your work as a narrative rather than a finished product, the result carries depth. Depth endures longer than decoration. I will use the rest of this video to answer a few common questions, especially for those who are new here. So, first one, the purpose of this channel is to encourage you to create your own work. So, my goal here is not to provide you step by step instructions for replicating what I do. Rather, I just want to show you that there is beauty in the simple things. I often stress that tutorials should function as prompts for exploration rather than templates to reproduce. The philosophy here, at least, is not to teach you how to be an artist. No one can teach you that. Someone can teach you a technique, they can show you how to draw, how to mix color, how to handle materials. Okay, good. But that is art making. But art making is not the same thing to being an artist. To be an artist, you must think art, not simply produce it. It must come from somewhere deeper than technique. The emotional element must outweigh the material one. That is why you sometimes encounter work that is technically beautiful but feels empty. You see the beauty of it, but then you forget it. And other times you see something that may not be conventionally impressive. It might even be uncomfortable. And yet it stays with you. Of course, some works are both technically refined and emotionally powerful. Others may be conceptually strong but fail to resonate with you personally. This is true. That happens, of course. That is part of the nature of art. It is not mathematics. It's not precise. It is unpredictable. And it is part of what makes art human. So, once again, this community is primarily for those who are willing to make art but still feel a little bit intimidated. Maybe you tried and stopped. Maybe you have always been curious and felt unsure about beginning, or perhaps you already create some but feel unsure about the art that you are making. The aim here is to encourage you to start and continue. The intention is not to deliver formal academic training, but to demonstrate that creating meaningful work is possible, even if you feel as if your skills are limited. Art involves talent, creativity, and technical ability, sure. But above it all, it involves feelings. If you feel, you can create. I hope that today we were able to demonstrate how accessible realism can be. And of course, this is just a first step if you want to follow that direction. And there are many, many channels that teach you realism in a highly technical and structured way, far better than I can ever teach you. Okay. So if you want to go deeper in that direction, go for it. And do not doubt that you can reach that. And I know that if you are just beginning, that level of detail can be a little bit intimidating, can be overwhelming. But sometimes the first step is simply to begin. Once you start, you realize that the structure is manageable and you build a foundation. There are many talented artists who use realism in very transformative ways, reshaping reality to evoke deep emotion. So, these are the results of what we have done today. I hope you've learned something new today and that the intention behind this community is clearer to you. As always, keep on practicing and thank you for joining us.